Hey everyone, thanks for your support in 2024. We have a lot of cool stuff coming in 2025, and here are some of the things you can look forward to as we move into next year. In the lead up to The Mandalorian and Grogu in 2026, we'll be starting a full series rewatch of both The Mandalorian and The Book of Boba Fett on exploring hyperspace lanes beginning in October. You can also expect a rewatch of Andor, and we will have reviews of every episode of Andor and the rest of the Skeleton Crew as those come out. Josie will be returning as we continue to rank every Star Wars thing released ever. Reviews of every episode of every Marvel Disney Plus show, including Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, The Eyes of Wakanda, Wonder Man, Ironheart, Daredevil Born Again, and Marvel Zombies, the day after each episode releases, will be available on Beware of Spoilers. We'll be having special event podcasts on 30-minute reviews for the Academy Awards, our 2024 year in review in early January, ranking all of Phase 5 of the MCU after Fantastic Four First Steps comes out, and our 10th anniversary special. Once we complete our rankings of all the Pokemon games on the backlog files, we'll be moving on to Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy. Over on the YouTube channel, you can join in for playthroughs of Mario & Luigi Superstar Saga, Pokemon White, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team, Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories, Kingdom Hearts Recoded, Mario Golf Toadstool Tour, Sonic Adventure 2, LEGO Racers 2, LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga, and SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. Want to keep on top of all the new things we have coming? Subscribe at mwpnews.com, subscribe on YouTube at youtube.com/@mwpnews, or subscribe to Beware of Spoilers, 30-minute reviews, exploring hyperspace lanes, and the backlog files on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. Again, thank you for your support. Good evening. Oh, I hope my memory card's in here. Let me just check. Okay, good, it is. And welcome to 30-Minute Reviews. I am Adam. We're going to be getting back to a more regular schedule, don't worry. We are no longer in this weird cold period, or some call it winter, that we've been in for the last few months. I feel like I'm explaining seasons to an alien, but there's a reason for this. My car has this recurring issue in the winter. This is a new used car that I got, and it has a recurring issue where the transmission acts up in the winter, in cold weather. Anytime overnight it gets below like 30 degrees, my transmission acts up in the morning. So I talked about it with Josie on exploring hyperspace lanes, which leads to situations where driving is annoying, and therefore recording while driving is nay impossible. Point in all this is, we appear to have gotten out of the skid. This cold streak appears to have snapped, and we're going to be getting into warmer weather on a more long-term and consistent basis, which means it won't be something we won't have to deal with until next year, which is great, for now, until we can get this totally fixed. The point is, we're here to talk about the Oscars. The Oscars were 2 nights ago at this point, Sunday night, and I watched it, and yeah, I mean, not much to say about the show itself. We're going to talk mostly about the winners. I think the big takeaway from this is it's a big night for independent film. It is it's one of those things where it's like there were a few shockers. I thought for sure Timothée Chalamet. If you go back and listen to the episode where I talk about the nominees, I kind of said in that there's a good amount of movies I didn't see because last year I was a little jacked up with the car situation. Not the situation different when I had the accident back in October. Didn't have a car till like mid-November, and then December I was very busy a good amount of the time. But point in all that is, I didn't see a good amount of the movies that were nominated. So here we are now. I kind of made guesses. I did Oscar Pick'em the day of the Oscars, which is, for those who don't know, because Disney Disney owns ABC. ABC is the broadcast home of the Oscars. The Oscars, they also have ESPN. ESPN they do Pigskin Pick'em, they do Oscar Pick'em. I got 10 right, 13 wrong, which okay, sure. But there were two that I picked right that were long shots that both were accurate and that worked out in my favor, and those were picking Flow to win Best Animated Feature and picking, what was the other one? Oh, Anora to win Best Picture were the two that got it. The ones that really shocked me. Now, I said when I did the announcement that, like, hey, I think that Carla Sofia Gascon is going to win. Well, that was before we found out everything about her. And I found out over the course of this award season, I'm in the minority on Amelia Perez, where I really liked it. And I didn't realize that, like, it was such a lightning rod of controversy on all fronts. I really enjoyed what they were doing. I liked what they were going for, and I think it worked more often than it didn't. But I realize, again, I'm in the minority on that, and I'm not gonna act like I am, everyone. I'm probably who's wrong, which happens from time to time. There are plenty of shitty movies that I enjoy, and maybe that's one of them. But I mean, Zoe Saldana won Best Supporting Actress for that. I was surprised that, and going into it when I made the pick, I thought Demi Moore was gonna win, for the same reason that, like, and I saw people saying, like, oh, it's just ageism. That's why Demi Moore and I forgot the other actress's name, the one who was in I'm Still Here. That was the thing. Like, I thought that's like, oh, they didn't win because of ageism, and I'm like, yeah, but, like, Jamie Lee Curtis won 2 years ago, like, in an utterly undeserving role. And again, I don't want to disparage her too much, but, like, she wasn't even the strongest Best Supporting Actress performance in Everything Everywhere All at Once. Like, Stephanie Hsu should have won that award. But, like, no, it's an ageism thing. That's why. No, it's not an ageism thing. It's just for whatever reason. I saw Anora. I did see Anora. I did not see The Substance. And I did not see I'm Still Here. But I did see Anora, and Mikey Madison is fantastic in that movie. I think I said after I saw it, because I talked about it in the Beware of Spoilers for that, I said, she, and this is how wrong I was. I thought it was going to be a race between her and Zendaya. I don't know how you pronounce her name. I should probably look that up at some point. It was going to be between the two of them, because I thought she was going to get nominated for Challengers, and Challengers didn't get anything. But that was one of those things where it's like, that was what I thought Demi Moore was going to win, because I thought the narrative would carry her through the way Jamie Lee Curtis got carried to an Oscar by the narrative of For Everything Everywhere All at Once. All right, fine. And the thing is, too, it's like the way that, like, it kind of, I guess it was the same thing that kind of kept Michael Keaton from winning back in 2013, 2014. Where was I living when I saw that one? Oh, Birdman. It would have been 2015. Yeah, it would have been the 2015 Oscars, because we talked about it in, like, the second episode of the show. The thing that kept him from winning, I think, was that it honed too close to his real life. And I think that may have harmed her here. And look, obviously it's not her real life, but, playing an aging actress who's dealing with being aged out of Hollywood does not... It fits for what, like, it makes sense for what this, what's it called, for it's one of those things where it's like, that's what Demi Moore, like, it tracks. This argument sounds better in my head, so I'm not going to articulate it before I say something stupid. The point is, I think that, I do know Mikey Madison had a great performance, though. She was fantastic in Anora, and I think that it was a deserving win for her. Then what was the other big one that I was like, that was a surprise. I thought Timothée Chalamet was a shoo-in, and my rationale. I stand by my rationale. I stand by what I said when it was when he was up for, when the nominations came out. I thought what was going to carry Timothée Chalamet over was not just his performance in A Complete Unknown, which he was nominated for, but also his performance in Dune, because Dune was going to be giving, like, Warner Bros. Was going to be giving Dune a massive for your consideration push for Dune, for the technical categories. I thought for certain it was going to carry him over, because it's like it would have put that before multiple people's eyes. Like, multiple people would have seen the movie, would have seen him perform twice, and I think that was something that's like, oh, this is going to carry him, over the finish line and get him this award. But I guess not. Who ended up winning? Adrien Brody. I have not seen The Brutalist yet. I'm going to wait till I can watch that at home because it's 3.5 hours long. Although if it's playing on Saturday, I might. No, I'm booked this week. Well, I'm booked because I'm booked Thursday, Friday, Wednesday, so I'm booked up for all 3. So yeah, it's questionable to say the least. It's one of those things where it's like, I haven't seen The Brutalist. I do find it funny that 12 years apart, Adrien Brody won an Oscar for one Best Actor for one movie was The Pianist, one was The Brutalist. So whatever his maybe whatever his next movie is will be the somethingist, and he'll win another Oscar. His speech was something, I don't know why he went on too long, and it's just a sense of entitlement that I feel like is unbecoming. Like, and throwing the gum at his wife was like, what the fuck? Like, it's something that I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with you? I thought for sure Timothée Chalamet was going to win, but I did not see The Brutalist, so we can't say. And that was fine. My biggest takeaway of the night was that The Brutalist, The Brutalist is a movie that I should make an effort to see, because I have not seen it, but it did very well. So I'm going to make an effort to see that movie now. And the biggest takeaway of the night: long live the indie. Long live the indie film, long live the indie spirit, because that's, like, I was talking to my mom while we were watching it, and I was like, that's what Sean Baker is. He's an indie filmmaker. He's in the same kind of, like, we're going to get the movie done, we're going to do it our way, and we're going to do it right, and we're going to commit to the vision, and he's going to, do what needs to be done. I'm hearing now there's weird things that happened, not with, there was alleged union busting, there was weird things like that. I don't know any of that. I haven't looked any deeper into that. I'm just saying that, like, he's a guy who, he won 4 Academy Awards in the same night for this movie, because he produced it, he edited it, he directed it, and he wrote it. And it's like, this is your Robert Rodriguez's, your Richard Linklater's, your Kevin Smith's. This is that style of filmmaker. Then you have that. Then you have Disney, Universal, and Netflix getting bodied by a small Latvian studio who made a movie in, what was it, Blender, and what was it, Unreal? 2 open source softwares. I know definitely Blender. They shouted out Blender. Maybe it was just Blender, but they made this absolutely beautiful movie in Blender, and it's just and it beat Inside Out 2, which was up until like this week or today or a few days ago the highest grossing animated movie ever. It beat that. It beat the new Wallace and Gromit movie, which I really loved, and it beat The Wild Robot. All 3 of which I adored all 3 of those movies. But this small Latvian studio on a very small budget for an animated movie beat 3 of the biggest powerhouses of animation working now. That is absolutely unreal. And I think that is something that, like, when we see the independent, spirit, it's like, yeah, Neon distributed, and the thing is too, it's like, Neon is very quickly becoming, like, one of the bigger distributors of really good independent films. Like, a Neon release is something that's starting to mean something in the way that, an A24 release means something. And that's something that I think is very optimistic for people like me who like the theatrical experience. I enjoy the theatrical experience more than watching it at home. Because inherently, I've talked about this before, when you're at home watching a movie, you're gonna get distracted. You're gonna get distracted by whatever else is going on in the house around you. Oh, the dog wants to go out to go take a piss in the yard. Okay, so let me go let the dog out. Okay, oh, well, the kitchen's right there. I can go get food. Oh, well, let me go get food and get up and watch that. Or, like, oh, I have a text. Let me check to see who texted me. Like, you don't get that in a movie theater, because the movie theater is a venue where you have to basically turn off all connections to the outside world, or at least you're supposed to. People don't, but you're supposed to kind of, like, shut out the outside world and just engage with what you're watching. And to an extent, it's like this idea that, like, Neon is still doing these big theatrical releases for relatively small movies is very, very encouraging. it's something that makes me go like, this is a good thing for the industry going forward. We need these movies to be seen by people and seen in a way where they're actually being forced to engage. So it's like the way you get superficial engagement with movies, and this is one of the things that I've noticed, the bad take machine that ends up happening with movies, the bad takes about, Civil War, the bad takes about Anora, the bad takes about Poor Things, and those happen when people watch these movies in a distractible environment. And it could just be more people are watching it, but when you watch Poor Things at home, when you watch Anora at home, Anora's coming to Hulu on the 17th. Now, I would recommend seeing it in the theater, but I have a feeling we're going to see the same shitty takes about Anora that we saw about Poor Things. There's a lot of gratuitous sex. But the thing is, it's like, again, it's in a movie theater, it feels different. When you're watching it at home, it's two totally different things, and I feel like if you're engaging at the surface level, it's easy to see that. And when you're in an environment where you can be distracted by what's going on around you, you're really only going to engage in whatever you're consuming on that level. You're not going deeper. You're not looking at what the story is. You're looking at a very superficial level. What is this montage of images and videos on my screen? And that. It's the same thing where it's like you see with Civil War. Civil War was a prime example of this, where they talk about, and I'm surprised that didn't win production design. There was some really good production design for war-torn United States in that movie. I'm surprised it wasn't nominated. I'm surprised that Dune didn't win, by the way, for production design. But when you see that movie, there is there is this thing where it's like, oh, they don't tell you what political party each side belongs to. It's clear if you watch, because the subtext is there. But they don't say, these are the Democrats, these are the Republicans, these are the good guys, these are the bad guys. Because the point is not, the point isn't that. The point is, devolving to this point. The point of the movie is about how quickly people can dehumanize their enemy to the point that they don't see them as human. That's what the movie is fundamentally about. And that was lost on people when they watched it at home. When you watched it in a theater, it's like, oh, okay, that clicks. And that's why it was one of my favorite movies last year. But if you're watching it at home, you're going to miss that. Or maybe if if we trust ourselves to watch on the deeper level and not just look at the superficial, then maybe we won't miss it. But I don't have faith in people to be able to do that. I didn't think there were any real surprises in a lot of things. I think The Substance winning for what was it? The Substance taking home best. What was that one that it won? Best makeup and hairstyling. Having not seen it, I thought that Wicked was going to win, but then when they showed the clip there, I was like, oh shit, they really did something interesting and unique, and I think that was a well-deserved win for them. What was the other one? Conclave was a clear winner for best adapted screenplay. Best original, was it best original screenplay also The Substance? I don't remember. I didn't write it down either. I don't have my paper in front of me. But yeah, I think that there were no major surprises in this, but outside of the snubs. I think the snubs were probably the most egregious to make the situation a little bit less clear-cut. I think that was probably the thing that I'm like, we need... What was the one I'm looking for here? I think the snubs were the bigger issue. Challengers not getting in there at all. Queer not getting in there at all. I don't understand how, even as a make-good with Dune Part 2, with Denis Villeneuve not being nominated, I think there's a possibility that he gets nominated in, for Messiah. Even if Messiah isn't as good, it's going to be like when Return of the King won Best Picture in 2003, when The Two Towers should have won Best Picture, but Return of the King won as kind of make good for that. I mean, granted, at the same time, there are portions of the voter base, the Academy voter base, who won't vote for science fiction. So, whatever. Let's see what happens there. But I think Villeneuve was snubbed there. I think Luca Guadagnino was also snubbed for, Challengers is also one of my favorite movies of last year. But yeah, I think that this is a interesting year, and I think that once we got to Oscar night, despite my picks being as off as they were, there were very few major surprises. Because nothing that we saw as we went through awards, everything was kind of telegraphed as we went through awards season as to what would happen. And I think in a way this is kind of the counter to the year Coda won, where it's like this is not an indie movie that was bought by Apple or Netflix, something like that, and then they put it in, and then they spent all this time all this time and money doing a very expensive campaign trying to get it the win. No, this is a movie. I mean, yes, there was a campaign for Anora, but Anora won out on its merits. Now, I can't say that once I see The Brutalist, I won't be like, oh shit, that should have won, or once I see I'm Still Here, I'll be like, oh shit, that should have won. But yeah, I mean, and the other one was the winner of Best Documentary Feature. I almost forgot to talk about this. The winner of Best Documentary Feature cannot be watched in the United States right now through legal means, I don't think, because I tried to watch it. I forgot what it was called, but it's about this Israeli reporter and this Palestinian man, Palestinian documentary filmmaker, or a refugee or something, and how they both want the ceasefire and how everything is kind of going against them getting the ceasefire. I thought Porcelain War was going to win, because I had not seen this, and I hadn't seen Porcelain War either, and I still haven't, but I heard about Porcelain War as kind of background radiation all year last year, because, I could have saw it at Sundance, and I didn't. I saw Seeking Mavis Beacon instead. I could have saw it at Hamptons, but I saw Homegrown instead. I could have saw it at, what was the other big one? There were multiple events where they were showing, Tribeca, I think, showed it, and I didn't see it there. And it was at South by Southwest. It just kind of it kind of did the festival circuit at such a great clip that I was like, oh, this is going to win. For a movie to win, it's a historic first. There are a few historic firsts. The guy who won, I'm forgetting his name, who won for Best Costuming for Wicked, was the first black man to win, in that category. Zoe Saldana was the first woman of Dominican descent, or first person of Dominican descent, I think, period, to win for, Emilia Perez. Then Sean Baker won 4 Academy Awards for one movie, which either is the record or it ties the record. I don't remember if Walt Disney had 4 or had 3 when he won it in the same night for one movie. Or did he do that? I feel like Snow White won 3 or 4, in which case I think Walt Disney would have gotten it. I don't remember, but either way, it's like that. That's an achievement. First win for Latvia, first win for Brazil. This is a night of firsts. It's one of those things where it's like I watch all of this and it's like, oh, let's see what else is coming down the line. I gotta start looking into what we're gonna do this year. We're gonna be a lot better about it, I promise, making sure we're watching everything. But we'll wrap up there for today. Let me just pull up my calendar, because I have it in front of me on my calendar. This week is going to be the Oscar results, so that's what we just did. Next week is Lord of the Rings, War of the Rohirrim, which is now on Max, so we can do that. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs will be the week after on St. Patrick's Day. We'll be doing that in prep for the new version of Snow White, because I haven't seen that movie in quite some time. Then on the 24th, we're doing A Real Pain, where Kieran Culkin just won Best Supporting Actor. So the little kid who pissed the bed in Home Alone has an Oscar now. And then on the 31st, we'll be doing Dee Dee, the movie that I think it was out of Sundance last year too, and it was supposed to be really good, and I didn't see it last summer. But it's now on, I think it's on Peacock. So we'll be talking about that. It's a coming-of-age story. I'm a huge sucker for those, and we'll talk about that. But we will wrap up there for today. We also have new movies that we'll be talking about on Beware of Spoilers this week. Let me see if I can remember off the top of my head what they are. What week is this? Oh, Mickey 17 is this week. I think that's Thursday. Mickey 17 and Queen of the Ring, I think, are this week's two movies. With, what's her name? Emily Bett Rickards of Arrow fame. And then we'll be seeing Black Bag early next week on Wednesday. But that's all we got for this week. And until our next episode, which will be next week, have a great rest of your week.